and Free Press Journal came together to have the series of India after COVID-19. The fact is nobody knows how serious it's going to be. Nobody knows what the final outcome will be. And Anantha is going to talk about some of these things. We hope to bring in more people, cover more segments, more sectors, and that is where Himanshu and I will be working together to bring you the best of people, the best of ideas, and we have a great man, Anantha, but let Himanshu talk about Anantha.
Right. Thank you, Bhaskar. Good afternoon, everyone. And on behalf of IIM Indore and the Free Press Journal, let me welcome, very hearty welcome to Mr. Anantha Padmanabhan. Now, Anant is the Managing Director, Alfa Laval India Limited, and Cluster President for India, Middle East, Africa, since January 1st, 2017. Anant is based out of Pune, the headquarters of Alfa Laval, India. Anant, with over 32 years experience, was the Managing Director, Alfa Laval Middle East Limited, heading Middle East business operations before taking up the new role in India. Anant is a mechanical engineer and has undergone management training with Stanford Business School, Ashridge Business School, United Kingdom, and Marketing Academy, Hamburg. Anant started his career with Messrs. Fertilizers and Chemicals, Travancore Limited, and joined Alfa Laval India Limited in 1985. He has been serving in various senior and leadership positions with Alfa Laval in India, Indonesia, and Middle East, and most recently as Regional Managing Director for Alfa Laval in the Middle East. He's married to Maithili Sundaram. So very warm welcome to you, Anant. And to take off, you know, the government has been focusing both its attention and the funding on rice and wheat. Do you think that it is time now to move the focus and funding away from rice and wheat? That is my first question. And what kind of investment does this need really?
Okay, let me start addressing the audience who are listening to me. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and hope you are all fine and staying safe. Thank you, IIM, and thank you, Dr. Himanshu Rai. You are famous, but you also have a very famous Ryan surname. I don't know. I don't know that you recognize that. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Bhaskar. Thank you very much. I'm a mechanical engineer, and how I got into food processing, it is Alfa Laval. It has been so many years in Alfa Laval that has really brought or increased my passion into food processing. I think you have raised a very, very important question, and maybe during the course of, I have a few slides to present, and during the course of my presentation, possibly I will touch upon it, and maybe we can discuss a little bit more about it at the time. Let me share the screen.
Yes.
I hope it comes up.
Absolutely.
Perfect.
Clear? Okay.
Yes.
I think having it's a very bright picture, and it shows grains. And Himanshu, you raised the right subject. Is that what is going to make us very happy? But before we get into that, I think I will use this opportunity to share a few things about Alfa Laval. Alfa Laval is a Swedish, I think I need to hide this, otherwise, yeah. Alfa Laval is a Swedish international company, 130 plus years old. We are a global provider of products and engineered solutions. We have been present in India since 1937. That means we have been here a very, very long time. We are one of the few companies who never left India during the post-independence regulations and the FERA regulations and things like that. The company diluted its ownership to 40%, but eventually we climbed up to 100% ownership. And that is why we are called Alfa Laval India Private Limited today. We have our manufacturing facilities in and around Pune and a team of 1,800 employees. And today, 40% of what we manufacture in India is also exported. To talk about the purpose of the company, why are we, why do we exist? The purpose is to accelerate the success of our customers, people, and planet. We are so closely connected with solutions which contribute towards sustainability of our customers and the planet. We are a 4.5 billion euro company with around 18,000 employees, financially very healthy, an EBITDA of 17+%, and a return on capital of 23%. A very innovative company, 3,700 plus patents, and investing just over 2%, 2.3% to be precise, of our revenue on R&D. We are organized as 3 divisions: energy, food and water, and marine, the 3 verticals. The 3 businesses have almost an equal share of business. And if you look into our business in India, food and water, more of food, I would say, is a very key business in India. We have been associated with food processing in India for many years. We work across multiple sectors, starting from milk to nuclear power. I've not forgotten your question, Dr. Himanshu. I'll come back to that. Let us talk about food processing. What is food processing? It's a very old art. I think right from my great-great-great-grandmother times, they have been making pickles, papads. People have been making dried fish. People have been making jams. It's a very old art. But over a period of time, this art blended with science. And that is where I have an interesting story, how things are transformed. I come from the southernmost part of India. I'm born and brought up in Kerala. Coconut oil is something very close to us. And when at home we wanted to have high-grade coconut oil, particularly for babies as skincare or for some other special purposes, I've seen my mother make coconut oil from coconut milk. They take the coconut milk, they heat it up slowly, and then the oil skims to the top. They skim it off, and they get that virgin coconut oil. I should say with pride that today, Alfa Laval is able to provide the same technology at a much larger scale in a much advanced way with low temperature inputs, where a coconut milk, a virgin coconut oil, can be produced right from fresh coconut without heating it, using the separation technology, and then pasteurize it and pack it. And that is how I see the blending of science and art. Why do we do these things? It is preservation. Today, food is required to be sent across the country. It is used by a lot of people so that we can use the food which is possibly grown in one end of India in the other end. And that helps, preservation helps that a lot. A typical example of preservation is the milk story. Again, I'm not telling the story to illustrate my age, but during my younger days, I've seen the early days of as a young boy. I've seen the farmer bringing the cow in front of my house, milking the cow and my mother buying the milk. And he's really a great artist. My mother makes sure there is absolutely no water in the pot she gives, but he somehow manages to add water even there.
That's the art.
That's the art. But since then, we have gone through the Operation Flood. We have seen a big revolution in terms of milk. Milk availability has become much wider. And today we are talking about UHT milk, and then the value-added products of milk powder and other value-added products in milk. By doing this, we are ensuring preservation. Today, during the COVID days, we are facing a few challenges in terms of milk where it is not being converted to a long shelf life. Of course, the processed food adds to its taste and value. When milk and with a lot of other ingredients is converted to ice cream, there is no one in this world who do not love an ice cream after a meal at the end of the day. And it's also convenient. You can get it picked up from anywhere. You can get it home delivered. Look at it, how useful it is in times of these emergencies. And it's also its availability. And processing has also got its economic significance. Customers paying for the taste and convenience, for the added value. It adds to the export opportunities of the produce. What is food processing BC? It is actually before COVID. It's a positive development over the past 15 years. I think food processing has grown at around 12%. And interestingly, processed food, I have listened to this dividing India into India and Bharat. It is not that I support this division that well, but I still think that it's a good way of looking at the two sides of India. The big gap between the haves and, yeah, you have the real super rich, they have the middle class, and you have the poor people at the bottom. But it is accepted in both India and Bharat. Even traditional users have started, even in pasteurized milk is used even in the villages. Today, if you look at refined oil is used in the villages. One of our customers today is selling 10 rupees sachets of refined oil for their villages. And recently, a colleague of mine was telling a story about his mother. He's a Gujarati. He loves to have ginger garlic paste for his food. He was trying to teach his mother a few lessons on cooking. So he told her that, why don't you buy the ginger garlic paste and use it? It took quite some time. She was not willing, but eventually she has now found it much more convenient and better quality products available. And she has started using the ginger garlic paste. We used to make butter at home from yogurt and then getting it out from the yogurt, but not anymore. Processed butter we buy today. So a lot of change has happened, and that has also driven the growth of food processing in the country. And another factor which has really driven this growth is demography and the migrant workforce. The processing industry has also adapted to the market need. It is not only ketchups, it's not only biscuits. I think today we are actually processing a lot of local food, which is both ready to use and ready to eat. The garlic ginger paste is one such example. How many times I have taken, I still manage to remain a vegetarian, having lived and traveled quite extensively outside the country. And how many times I have survived on this ready to eat food, which you can just put in hot water and take out and eat. One major area which has really progressed during these years is the dairy industry. I think the dairy industry development has been fantastic. The Operation Flood is one of the successes. Despite all the bureaucracy, it really worked well. It was tough dealing with Dr. Kurian, but I think the commitment with which he really took that program forward, that has brought a lot of benefits. It has brought benefits to the farmers. It has brought a lot of benefit to the consumers. Milk usage is not just a luxury. We at Alfa Laval, we are so proud to be a part of this journey together with NDDB. If you look at the processing industry, what is happening, take a look at the mango farmers today. How much attention has been given to this food, to the farm sector? I think you asked a very, very important question, Dr. Himanshu. I think food security, we thought that food security is only with grains. But the farm sector, it has started getting attention, but after a long time. The mango farmers are struggling today. Their export market is affected. They are not, even the domestic market is affected. There are a few farmers who have adopted new technology where they are processing these mangoes and putting it in aseptic package, bulk packages, which has got a shelf life of 6 to 12 months. One good thing that has happened during the last five years now is a dedicated attention from the government with the formation of a dedicated food processing ministry. I think it is just the beginning. But overall, it has been a positive growth during the last 15 years in terms of food processing. A few facts where we are on food. We are the largest producer of milk in the world. Even after Operation Flood, we are only 30% is being processed. And even what is being processed, we have quality issues. We are the second largest producer of fruits and vegetables. 30% is wasted and only 10% gets processed. If you look at countries, the progress countries like Thailand, Sri Lanka, Philippines have achieved, we are nowhere near that. We have a long way to go. 65% dependence on import for vegetable oil, a country of 1.3 billion. We talk about food security. Fish and meat, another industry which is in perpetual turbulence, and only 30% of Indians are vegetarians. And in fact, only 1% of meat is converted to value-added products in this country. We export a lot of meat, processed meat from this country. If you look at our export list, meat is a very, very important part. But then if you look at what we process in this country, most of the processing in India can be classified as primary processing. It is not value-added processing. It is just getting grains, polishing them, and that is also treated as food processing here. So that is what's happening.
Anant,
yeah.
Can I just intervene, because while Bhaskar and I would be aware of what primary processing and value-added processing is, some of our viewers may not be aware of this. So if you could just spend a minute and tell us the difference between primary processing and value-added processing.
Definitely. When you take the basic farm material and just process it like pulses, grains, wheat, rice, some of that processing is, even you take raw meat and just clean it and send it, pack it, freeze it and pack it, that is primary processing. That is not value-added processing. But you take tomatoes and convert that into ketchups, purees, get mango, convert that into mango pulp, These are all secondary processing, the value-added processing. Many a time, the primary process content goes into the secondary stage and value gets added, and that comes out as packaged food on the shelves for us to consume. The challenge, if we don't have enough of secondary processing, then the people in the value chain, particularly the farmer at the last end of it, or rather the beginning of it, they don't get paid. Well, and that becomes a pain for them. Let us talk about food security. We have reasonably good levels of grains inventory. I think recently, I don't remember which minister it was. It was a question asked why the grains are being released for production of alcohol. We have 6 years of grains in the inventory. So we are quite comfortable in terms of our grain stock. But procurement, storage, and distribution still remains a challenge. We have real wastage happening, and the grains are also getting contaminated. The Indian paradox is that it is hunger amid abundance. Even after having so much of grains, have we not seen the picture of all these migrant workers, the other poor people in the country? We are a country with a very high number of malnutrition children. I think if my statistics is right, 1/3 of the world's malnutrition children are in India. And COVID actually has exposed this problem in a big way. So malnutrition and inequities, people who can afford are able to get access to the food. We always claim we have actually a good PDS system. The public distribution system is an excellent program. Again, COVID has exposed its difficulties because there is no portability of the PDS ration cards. I'm aware of a program which the government is planning, One Nation, One Ration Card program. I hope it will solve the problem, but I've not gone into the details, and I really do not know what happens if the members of a family are working in different locations. I hope it is a card per individual adult. Otherwise, it will become another issue. We have issues of low productivity. The yield per hectare and the water consumption is quite high. We can always blame about the fragmented land as a reason for it. China is more fragmented than us in terms of land usage, but their productivity, I think, is double. Isn't it, Bhaskar? They are double ours. Our agriculture and farming has got a high dependence on rain. Only 36% of the land is irrigated. But this is where technology can make a big change. Take sugarcane, which is a very key ingredient in our regular food. 1 kilogram of sugar consumes 2,000 to 3,000 liters of water. Can we stop cultivating sugarcane because it consumes so much of water? But if we use the right technology, we can solve this. We have worked with a very large sugar processing facility in Bihar. We have used our technology to recycle water. They recycle around 900,000, almost 1 million liters of water per day to be used again, both in the plant and in the land. And that is a smart way of combining technology and bringing technology back into the industry and into the farm. This next bullet actually addresses the question what you said, Himanshu.
Okay.
I think we are so far away from the 1996 World Food Summit definition of food security. Food security is not just providing grains. It talks about nutrition, it talks about dietary and food preference aspects. I don't think we have covered that aspect of it. Food is not just grains. We have got to cover the vegetables, the fruits, the meat, the fish, the oil, and look at our dependence and our lack of organization in these sectors and the challenge that we will have in terms of future food security. The future food security is a challenge. We need to get ready for it right now. Food consumption is expected to grow 30 to 35% in the next 10 years. Improved standard of living means the people who are consuming less than 2,500 calories per day will be less than 10%. The low productivity, scarcity of farm workers, water scarcity, wastage, this will have a big impact on our food security position. The only way we can address this is preserving food, like what our forefathers did or our great-grandmothers did. They preserve food for the rainy day when they will not get fresh food. So preserving food and using modern technology is the way forward. Then comes the COVID. I hope this picture, I don't think you have seen Taj Mahal, the Taj Mahal Hotel in Mumbai this way. Practically nobody on the streets. It's a beautiful picture, but it is a scary picture. I think shrinking growth and job losses is a reality. Farmers will have their challenges of manpower, logistics, and declining market. People are experiencing home today. Working from home will become more of a norm. It will be more meals at home. And it may change the process for demand as well, from ready to eat to ready to use. Because when the husband and wife are at home, they're eating every day at home, they would like to try a few new recipes rather than eat the pre-ordered food from the restaurants. Home delivery from restaurant will become a norm. And this could also affect the restaurant business and also the corporate canteens. There'll be reduced travel. I was telling the other day to Bhaskar, I normally used to travel 6-7 times a year to Europe for our meetings. But last 2 meetings we have had over a platform like this, Microsoft Teams. There's 3 days of meeting, 4-5 hours a day, very productive. It worked extremely well. And maybe then what you do is, instead of 6 times, you travel only once, and that is more for knowing each other and socializing rather than for real business meeting. Technology will drive the future. We talked about food preferences. We talked about working from home, the home experience. Actually, this could be captured through data analytics, depending on how people buy what they buy. And this will have an impact on the food availability and also on food processing. That means the processing plants will have to be very agile, should be able to switch from one to another. The multi-product processing in the same facility could become a norm. We have read about how mobile phones with different color choices, that flexibility that they need in a manufacturing facility, a similar requirement will come also in food processing systems. And this will eventually reach farms. I think blockchain can work in the supply chain. We can use the blockchain technology and then take it right up to the farmers so that you harvest when it is really necessary, and you create and you process depending on what is being cultivated and what is being harvested. There could be a very, very solid link between processing and farming. I think people are avoiding risk now. They will prefer for more hygienic food. So food safety, hygiene, and holistic health will become, people will become more aware of that. And our dependence on other countries, that is getting noticed now. We will move more from global to local. And there will be effect on Bharat. The immigrant workers who are now going back to their villages, I'm not saying they will stay back there, but they would prefer to work close to home eventually. Maybe it is the lack of jobs which may drive them back to the cities, but considering the situation that we are, they would like to work close to home. Earlier, I was telling a story about what is happening on the logistics side today. The logistics companies are struggling to get their drivers back to work. It is not that the drivers do not want to come, but the society, the villagers, the families are not very happy that they are going back to the cities to get themselves exposed. I think things have changed. And I think things have changed forever for this time. It's a crisis. But it's also a crisis which creates a great opportunity for change. We have got to take a holistic approach on food security. We cannot just take it on grains. We need to look at the entire food chain. We need to add value to farm produce by the right type of processing to maintain natural values. We have got to take away the contaminants. We have got to add value. We have got to create jobs. And we have got to preserve food for a long time, which will provide the food security. For instance, if you look at it, short term, we could expect shortage of farm produce, of vegetables and fruits. Farmers, because of the worry of transportation, I don't have the statistics, how much of, it is 30% is the general statistics of wastage. But today in COVID situation, I wouldn't really know how much of vegetables and fruits have been thrown away. They'll be extra careful before planting them again till they are clear about it. So they may move from perishable to non-perishable food. That again will create issues in terms of food availability. We could face shortage of some of the perishable foods. So moving forward, we need to put technology to work, and we need to bring the Bharat and India together in a smart way. That's all what I have got to say. Thank you very much for giving this opportunity. I am ready to listen to the questions, try my best to answer.
Thank you, Anantha. Before I take the students' questions, and they're raring to go, as you know, as the questions that started coming to me, I would like Himanshu to ask his questions first, and then I will get the students one by one.
Yeah. So, Anant, just to repeat.
Anantha, your face has disappeared.
My face disappeared?
Yeah.
In the sense that I can see the painting behind you, but not your face.
Yeah, yeah.
That is what I wanted. Yeah, okay, no. That looks better, Bhaskar. Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Better than the painting.
Thank you.
Those were some excellent points, including some very relevant statistics that you put up, Anant. Now, I go back to that question. you have already answered the fact that there has to be this renewed focus and attention being given to food processing and food security. Clearly, and we are not saying that you have to move away from wheat and rice, but there has to be renewed focus. But what is the kind of investment do you think that this sector needs, food processing and food security?
I think it's a very important question, because big investments are not happening. Major players are not coming in. There are quite a lot of programs under the food processing ministry, but it's all fragmented. The sort of investment like what happened in dairy is not happening. I can't put a number over there, but we need large scale investment in food processing, and we should allow major players to come in.
Okay.
We can't, today it is with MSMEs. I'm not against MSMEs, but their reluctance because of the fund shortage, their inability to put in high level technology, to get the best technology available in the world into the processing, that is limiting them. I would definitely see major players coming in. And there are some major groups who have shown interest, ITCs and Imamis and a few others, but I would want the government to encourage them to get much closer to the farmers. Actually, the farmers would definitely benefit a lot by engaging directly with these large industrialists.
Anantha, can I make a request? Stop sharing the screen so that the faces become larger.
Okay, let me find a way how I'm going to do that. I'm struggling to do that. Okay.
Doesn't matter. We live with a small face. Because time is also sense. So, there you did it. Wonderful.
Sometimes it works.
Now your face looks larger and bigger.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Do you have any other questions, Himanshu, before I go ahead with the students?
No, I'll take them later.
Okay. See, we've got many questions from the students. One of the most important questions, which of course students would ask, is what are the employment opportunities in your industry? Is it just chemical engineers? Is it marketing? What kind of skills are you looking for?
We employ everyone. Our CEO is a lawyer by education.
Can I get a job?
Why not? Our CEO is a lawyer by profession.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I think what is more important is what value can you add to the business? And primarily we look for engineers, but we also employ data analysts. And I think data analytics will have a very big role the way we move forward. As an engineering industry, we have not been using data analytics that much, but we have realized the importance of data analytics. Marketing is another area, because marketing has been so strong on the FMCG side, but the engineering industries have started realizing that marketing plays a very critical role when we want to really launch new products, understand our customers. So these are some of the areas, but the traditional roles will never go away. We are running actually a food competence center in India, which is employing around 200 engineers. So those people will also be required. So it's a mixed bag. We need people. We normally recruit around 10, 12 people a year. That's it. We generally feel feeding from the bottom. You can look at me. I've been in the company for 35 years. So people get started there and then they stay on. And but I think that's the way it works. I don't expect the same thing with today's generation, but then that's the way it works.
Okay, there's one more question, which is quite an interesting question. We become the largest player in milk, which we are the largest in the world, and the biggest processed food in Asia, as far as milk is concerned. Which is the next industry, which is the next food segment where you think India has a potential of being a global leader?
Milk.
After milk.
We're not done enough in milk.
Oh, we've not done enough.
Absolutely not. Only 30% of it is getting processed.
Okay.
We have got to create value-added products in milk.
So even in milk, there's a lot.
Plenty, a lot to do in milk. But after milk, I would definitely look at fruits and vegetables and meat and fish.
Okay, when you talk of fruit and vegetable, this is the next question. What do you think the government should do to make the sector that much more vibrant?
I think today farm, it is the supply chain is so disintegrated, so fragmented.
Okay.
If I'm going to set up an industry, my worry is how am I going to get my input? I have a customer of mine who set up a coconut and a fully integrated coconut processing plant in South. I tell you, his biggest challenge is how is he going to get enough number of nuts? He's going nuts over getting nuts.
Okay.
So I think we need to really connect the industry and the farmer. And then, Bhaskar, you know that I have a crazy idea, which says that you should call farming an industry.
Yes. Yes, that farming should become an industry and allow industry to amalgamate farms, go into contract farming, etc., etc.
Exactly.
But wouldn't that also require processing industries to move closer to farms?
Absolutely. Because that actually what happens in processing industries. If you look at fruit and vegetable processing and a lot of these processing, when the fruit arrives from the farm, there's a lot of cleaning and there's a lot of manual work involved. And today, a lot of immigrant workers are used over there. And if this industry moves closer to the farm, these immigrant workers can work in the industry, and when the harvesting happens, they can go back to the farm. So they have a good livelihood. And one typical example is what has happened on the BPO industry. Earlier, BPOs were right in the big cities, but today they are moving more and more closer to the third, not even second tier. They are moving more closer to the third and fourth tier.
Where there's more talent, less cost.
Absolutely. And much convenient for the people.
Yes.
When they get all the facilities, a good standard of living, close to their home. And in a context like India, where social security systems are not that great, it is important that we keep the families together.
So effectively, you're talking about the need for investments, government regulations, and the entire supply chain coming in together.
Yeah.
So let me take one more one more question from the students before I send it over to Himanshu. Himanshu is going to throw me out. Anyway, the question is very simple. How do you cope with a food processing industry where the fine dine restaurant industry is almost dead? Hotels are dead. A lot of users of farm produce are disappearing post-COVID. So the pressure on the farmer will be greater. How do you, if you were in the government, what would you do?
I would put a lot of focus on processing.
Okay.
If you process this food, if you make it high, the consumption of food is not going to go down.
Yes.
Just because restaurants are closed, 1.3 billion people, they've got to eat. Yes. Our standard of living has improved. People will eat. Villagers also eat ice creams and noodles. They are processed food. So food is going to be consumed. How it is going to be delivered is the difference. And so today you cannot get fresh vegetables cut in a restaurant, produced, converted into a meal in the restaurant. That may not work. But there could be large kitchens, there could be home deliveries, there'll be a lot of those things happening. But I think processing should happen. Government should step up the initiative on processing. They have some good plans on the table, but they should now put in. But today government is stretched. So this is the time when they need to open the doors for large private sector to come in, put the money in, but at the same time, maintain the interest of the farmers. Make sure there is a committed, there's an ethical corporate which will come in and do things. And if you do that, it will completely change things.
In this connection, just one more, sorry, Himanshu, one more little question.
Please.
My question. Do you see food processing, if handled properly, accounting for a larger share of India's GDP than the conventional sectors.
Oh, that is difficult. But then I think for today, what I remember reading was food processing accounts for around 15% of the manufacturing side of the GDP.
Okay.
It has got a potential to grow. It could grow easily 25-30% per year, food processing.
Wow.
If we really put efforts into it, there's tremendous amount of potential. But here I have one more suggestion to give.
Yes.
Look at what government did with water. They brought everything under Jal Shakti.
Yes.
If you can bring food processing and agriculture, everything under one umbrella, that will solve a lot of problems. Multiple agencies pulling here and there, that is not allowing. I think government did a fantastic job with water. It is yet to take a full shape, but I think that is a great step. If we can do the same thing with food, food and agriculture, one umbrella, bring it together, that will bring in a lot of advantage.
With this, I can't ask many more questions because we are running a short of time. So all the audience that is there, we've got more than 300 of them. I'm sorry, I can't take the questions, but if Himanshu has some questions, great. If he doesn't have the questions, could you give your vote of thanks and end the session?
So I just have one more question, and this is a little bothersome, and that is what is coming from Anant's idea about bringing food and agriculture under one umbrella. Anant, for decades, we've been hearing of grains rotting year after year. Now you have pointed out another figure of 30% food going waste. The social media in the last few weeks has been replete with farmers throwing away their tomatoes, throwing away their crops simply because they didn't have anybody to sell to. We can't be crying year after year. There has to be some solution to it. One solution, of course, you mentioned were have some more cold chains. Anything else beyond this that the government should be focusing on to reduce this wastage, which according to me is criminal?
Of course, logistics is one part of it, but then when the consumption goes out, the restaurants are closed, the airlines are closed, big hotels are closed. Even if you ship it, who is going to buy? How many kilograms of vegetables and fruits I'm going to buy every day? So I think there's a limit. The only way is to preserve. We need to process. There's no shortcut to it. And that is the need for the future. And actually it is the need even for ensuring future food security. Today, we think that we are secure in food because of the grains, but I think that is a false feeling. It's just a feel-good factor. With the food consumption going up, as I said, with the food consumption going up, with shortage of water, with all these wastages, we are going to face the reality in another 15 years' time.
Yes.
And we have enough time. We need to act now. And this is a great opportunity. That is why I said COVID has actually opened big opportunity for us.
And clearly, we were not considering the nutritional value when we were focusing only on the grains. You have to take care of the nutritional value as well. So thank you very much, Anant. This was an enriching session, I'm sure, as much for the viewers as it was for us. Both Bhaskar and I are delighted, and there's so much learning that we are taking away from this particular session. So thank you very much for spending so much time with us. Thank you to all our viewers who are out there, and hope that you have gotten to know more about the food processing and the food security. And some of you might be interested now in actually pursuing a career there. And as Anant said, that if you have the capability, it really doesn't matter what your background in terms of academics is. If you have the capability, if you can add value to food, a job is there waiting for you. A very great career is there waiting for you. So thank you very much, Anant.
Thank you very much.
Himanshu, one small thing to the audience, please log in next Thursday, because next Thursday you have a sequel to Anantha Padmanabhan. You have R.S. Sodhi coming in, the man behind the Amul brand, the man who accounts for the largest processing sector in India. So do log in next Thursday, and Himanshu will be the host for all of us. Himanshu?
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks for.
Thank you, Anantha. It was wonderful.
Stay home and stay safe.
Thank you.
Yes, please stay home and stay safe. Thanks.
Thanks.
Okay. Great. Now I think we are there alone.
No, it is still on live. Still on live.
Okay, we're still on live.